Hash the economics of billionaire mega compounds. Inside Zuckerberg's $270 million fortress, Mark Zuckerberg just spent more on his personal security than most cities spend on their entire police force. $270 million for one property. But here's what nobody's telling you. This isn't just about a house. It's about something far more disturbing. Welcome to the world of billionaire doomsday compounds, where the ultra-rich are quietly building self-sufficient kingdoms. And they're doing it right under our noses. Kauai, Hawaii, paradise on earth, turquoise waters, white sand beaches, and Mark Zuckerberg's 1,500-acre fortress. He didn't just buy a house, he bought an entire coastline. The compound, called Koolau Ranch, sprawls across land larger than Central Park. Twice the size, actually. Local residents started noticing something strange in 2017. Surveyors, construction crews, a 6-foot stone wall appearing along the property line. But the wall was just the beginning. Zuckerberg's team began systematically purchasing every surrounding parcel of land, one by one. No exceptions. If you owned property near his compound, you received an offer, a generous one. Refuse it, and the legal pressure began. In 2017, Zuckerberg filed quiet title lawsuits against hundreds of native Hawaiian families who held traditional ownership claims. The backlash was immediate, brutal. He eventually dropped the lawsuits, but the message was clear: privacy, at any cost. The property includes underground bunkers, self-sufficient water systems, and enough solar panels to power a small town. Court documents revealed a 5,000 square foot underground shelter, concrete walls, blast-resistant doors, its own energy supply, its own food supply, its own everything. This isn't a vacation home. It's a survival compound masquerading as a beach estate. And Zuckerberg isn't alone. Jeff Bezos recently purchased a compound in Miami's Indian Creek Island. Price tag, $79 million. Then he bought the house next door for another $68 million. Indian Creek Island is already the most exclusive address in America. 34 homes, 42 residents, private police force. But even that wasn't secure enough for Bezos. He needed both properties. Complete control of his surroundings. No neighbors peering over hedges. The island already has 13 police officers for just 42 residents. The highest police-to-resident ratio in America. Still not enough. Bezos is reportedly installing additional security measures, advanced surveillance, biometric systems, the works. These purchases reveal a pattern emerging among the ultra-wealthy, a philosophy of absolute isolation. Larry Ellison took it even further. He bought 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai. Not 98 acres, 98% of an entire island. $300 million for 90,000 acres. 18 resort properties, 2 championship golf courses. He owns the water company, the electric grid, the grocery stores. When you control the island, you control who comes and who goes. Peter Thiel purchased a 640-acre estate in New Zealand. He spent 13 years building a luxury bunker there. New Zealand has become the preferred doomsday destination for Silicon Valley billionaires. The country even had to pass laws restricting foreign bunker construction. That's right. So many billionaires were building escape compounds that the government stepped in. Let's talk numbers, real numbers. A basic luxury estate in a prime location? $10 to $50 million. A billionaire mega compound with security infrastructure? We're looking at a completely different scale. Zuckerberg's Hawaii compound, $270 million and climbing. That includes the initial land purchases, which totaled around $100 million. The construction costs? Another $100 million minimum. But the real money goes into the systems you can't see. Underground bunkers start at $3 million for basic models. High-end custom shelters can exceed $25 million. Zuckerberg's is estimated at $30 million. And that's conservative. These aren't basement storm shelters. We're talking luxury underground residences, full kitchens, multiple bedrooms, air filtration systems that can scrub chemical and biological threats. Independent power generation costs another $5 to $15 million. Solar arrays, battery systems, backup generators. Water independence requires well drilling, filtration systems, and massive storage tanks. Budget $2 to $5 million. Food production facilities, greenhouses, hydroponic systems, livestock areas, another $3 to $8 million. Then comes security, perimeter walls and fencing for properties this size, $1 to $5 million depending on specifications. Zuckerberg's 6-foot stone wall reportedly cost over $3 million. Surveillance systems for mega estates run another $2 to $7 million. We're talking hundreds of cameras, thermal imaging, motion sensors, facial recognition. Some compounds employ drone detection systems, because yes, that's necessary now. Armed security personnel represent the largest ongoing expense. A basic security detail for a billionaire runs $500,000 annually. For comprehensive protection, $2 to $5 million per year. Zuckerberg's security costs exceeded $23 million in 2020 alone. That's just 1 year. His total security spending from 2015 to 2020, over $100 million. For context, that's more than the annual budget of several small city police departments. And we haven't even discussed the tunnels yet. Underground tunnel systems are becoming standard in billionaire compounds. They connect bunkers to main residences, garages to safe rooms. Tunnel construction costs roughly $1,000 per linear foot. For a comprehensive network, $10 to $30 million easily. These tunnels aren't just walkways, they're engineered escape routes with reinforced walls and independent ventilation. Some include vehicle access. Imagine an underground road system beneath your property. Why? Because above-ground movement during a crisis becomes impossible. The paranoia driving these decisions runs deep. Douglas Rushkoff, a media theorist, was once flown to a private resort to address 5 ultra-wealthy hedge fund managers. They didn't want to discuss investment strategies. They wanted to know how to maintain control over their security forces after the event. The event, that's what they call it. Economic collapse, climate catastrophe, social uprising, nuclear war. Pick your apocalypse. These billionaires asked Rushkoff serious questions. How do we keep our security teams loyal when money becomes worthless? Should we use biometric locks that only we can open? Special disciplinary collars? Food supplies only we can access? One suggested building bunkers in New Zealand and remotely controlling robot security guards. This is how the richest people on Earth think about the future. Not how to prevent catastrophe, how to survive it alone. The psychology here is fascinating and troubling. Traditional wealthy estates emphasized status, visibility, showing off your success. Modern billionaire compounds emphasize invisibility, separation, complete disconnection from society. Psychologists call this apocalypse anxiety, the belief that societal collapse is inevitable. When you have billions of dollars, you can actually act on that anxiety. The result? Private kingdoms designed to outlast civilization itself. But here's the contradiction. These billionaires made their fortunes from society, from networks, from connecting people. Zuckerberg built Facebook on the promise of bringing the world together. Now he's building walls to keep the world out. The irony is almost painful. Let's examine the staff situation. Because someone has to maintain these compounds, every megastate requires dozens of full-time employees, groundskeepers, maintenance workers, security personnel, private chefs, and every single one signs NDAs so restrictive they'd make intelligence agencies jealous. Workers on Zuckerberg's Hawaii estate reportedly sign confidentiality agreements with million-dollar penalties for violations. They can't discuss what they see, what they build, who visits, nothing. Some contracts allegedly include clauses about never photographing the property, never using personal phones on site. Former employees describe an atmosphere of intense surveillance. They're watching you while you work for them. One construction worker who spoke anonymously described building rooms within rooms beneath Zuckerberg's main house, spaces that don't appear on any official building plans. When construction on sensitive areas began, certain workers were dismissed for the day. Only a select crew allowed. This level of secrecy isn't about celebrity privacy, it's about hiding capabilities. What are these compounds actually capable of? Reports suggest some billionaire bunkers can sustain occupants for 5 years without outside contact. 5 years. That requires storing approximately 900,000 calories per person. Water filtration for millions of gallons. Medical facilities with surgical capabilities. Pharmaceutical stockpiles. Some compounds reportedly include detention areas. Yes, jail cells. On private property? For what purpose? Your guess is as good as mine. The land acquisition strategy reveals long-term planning most governments can't match. Zuckerberg didn't just buy property in Hawaii randomly. He chose Kauai specifically. Remote location, natural barriers, limited access points, easy to defend. Fresh water sources, arable land, fishing access, every element serves strategic survival value. When billionaires buy neighboring properties, they're creating buffer zones, controlled perimeters where threats can be identified from distance. In Miami, Bezos now controls an entire section of Indian Creek Island's coastline. Nobody approaches his property from water or land without crossing territory he owns. This is military-grade defensive positioning applied to real estate. The environmental impact of these compounds rarely gets discussed. Zuckerberg's Hawaii construction has faced criticism for disrupting native ecosystems and traditional Hawaiian land use. Building massive walls affects water drainage, animal migration, plant distribution. Solar panel arrays covering acres alter ground temperature and local climate. But environmental regulations often don't apply the same way to private developments, especially when you can afford the best lawyers. And if fines do happen, they're rounding errors on a billion-dollar balance sheet. Some billionaires are taking the concept even further. There are reports of wealthy individuals purchasing decommissioned missile silos, converting them into luxury underground cities. The Survival Condo project in Kansas transformed a Cold War silo into 15 luxury apartments. Prices ranged from $1.5 to $4.5 million per unit. The facility goes 15 floors underground, includes a pool, movie theater, library, and hydroponic farm. It can sustain 75 people for 5 years. All units sold out. This represents a shift in luxury real estate. The ultimate status symbol isn't the penthouse anymore. It's the deepest bunker. Let's address the uncomfortable question. Are these billionaires right to prepare? Climate scientists predict increasing natural disasters. Political tensions are rising globally. Economic inequality is at historic levels. Maybe underground bunkers aren't paranoia. Maybe they're pragmatism. But here's the problem with that logic. The people building these survival compounds are the same people whose decisions shaped the systems now failing. Tech billionaires profited from platforms that spread misinformation and polarization. They optimized for engagement over truth, for profit over stability. Now they're building escape pods while the rest of us deal with the consequences. Author Naomi Klein calls this climate capitalism. The wealthy prepare to survive disasters they helped create. They won't solve the problems. They'll outlive them. The rise of billionaire compounds also reveals something about wealth concentration. When individuals can spend hundreds of millions on personal property, something is structurally broken. Zuckerberg's Hawaii compound cost more than the annual education budget of some small American towns. One person's vacation property versus schools for thousands of children. The math doesn't math. These compounds represent wealth so extreme it disconnects entirely from normal economic reality. And they're becoming more common, more elaborate, more expensive. There are now companies specializing exclusively in billionaire security and bunker construction. Rising S Company, Vivos, Ultimate Bunker, Atlas Survival Shelters. These firms report business has increased 400% since 2020. The pandemic showed wealthy clients that disruption is possible, that society can fracture quickly. Now they're preparing for the next one. Some survival experts argue these bunkers won't work as planned. If civilization actually collapses, your security team becomes your biggest threat. Why would armed guards protect you when they could just take over? You can't eat money. You can't enforce contracts without a legal system. The whole strategy depends on maintaining power hierarchies after the structures supporting those hierarchies disappear. Good luck with that. Others point out that no compound is truly self-sufficient. Medical emergencies requiring specialized care, equipment failures needing outside expertise, the psychological toll of isolation. Humans are social creatures. Locking yourself in an underground box with the same 12 people for years? That's not survival. That's a very expensive prison. But the construction continues anyway, because these compounds serve another purpose beyond actual survival. They're monuments to control. When everything feels uncertain, buying an island provides the illusion of security. You can't control the stock market. You can't control politics. You can't control climate change, but you can control who enters your property. That feeling of control, for billionaires, that's worth any price. So where does this end? Are we heading toward a future where the ultra-wealthy live in completely separate physical spaces, above ground for the masses, underground for the elite. It sounds like science fiction, but the infrastructure is already being built. The real question isn't whether billionaires will continue building these compounds. They will. The question is what happens to everyone else, because every dollar spent on private bunkers is a dollar not spent on public resilience, on infrastructure that helps communities survive disasters together, on addressing the root causes of the instability driving people underground. The billionaire bunker boom represents the ultimate surrender to dystopia, not fighting to prevent catastrophe, just making sure you have a good seat when it arrives. And the most disturbing part, they're probably just getting